Development Authority. It was replaced by special crops. And in 2000, KTDA, what we call KTDA, which contributes about 56% of the production we have in the country, was privatized at the KTDA agency. KTDA also have developed their own subsidiaries and investment under the KTDA holdings. Your Excellency, government reforms in agriculture started in 2014. Actually, I was in that committee, or the task force on the agriculture task force for the reforms. And this one, it came out to what we call Agriculture Food Authority. And I should have mentioned the CEO, Dr. Ituri. Bruno is here. He is the Director General of AFA. In 2020, the Tea Act was enacted and they reestablished the Tea Board of Kenya. And 11th January 2021, the Tea Act came into effect. The Tea Act, Your Excellency, created a lot of court cases. In fact, when we looked at the court cases last year, when I got into the Tea Board, we had 26 court cases against the Tea Act. In April, we are able to sit down and mediate on the Tea Act and then come out to what I was saying about the amendments. So as I said, my board is composed of 11 people. There is the Treasury is appointed, Minister of Agriculture, Trade, and plus the other tea traders who are forming in the board. At this juncture, because I don't want to take much time, most of the programs we went through, maybe due to protocol, I'll ask Dr. Kiprono just to come and invite the CS, who in turn will invite Your Excellency for your address. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, who is our guest speaker today for our second session. The CS Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock, who is with us today. The chairpersons of committees of Parliament and the members of Parliament and Senate who are present. Allow me to use the already established protocols to save on time. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. It's afternoon. Good afternoon. Your Excellency, we are honored today to have you here. From the time this administration put an agenda on tea and a PETA, there is no other big day on tea like today. When the statement was put on PETA, on value addition and attention on tea, today is our great day because we have you, the Deputy President, to grace this occasion. It's a clear demonstration that our plan works. Our bottom-up economic transformation agenda work. On tea, we've been here several times with the CS, and now your presence today is a great celebration for the tea sector. And I want to thank you sincerely on having time to honor this day, because from yesterday, we waited and say today is our day on tea. This celebration, Your Excellency, is meant to make our farmers great, our tea farmers great through putting money in their pocket in enhancing the tea earning. That is the main message for this 3-day celebration on 100 years. And we said yesterday, on the action this 3-day event will put across, we are asking that in 21-24, for those who will be alive, to celebrate the 200 years of tea being commercialized, it will be called, convened by farmers. Because this administration, through your leadership, Your Excellency, and the ministry, will ensure that we execute the many programs you put across so that we make our tea farmers great. Almost lastly, Your Excellency, is the issue of the tea trade mission. We are saying we have been selling our tea at the price of wood because of lack of value addition. Now we are saying, with the plans put in place on value addition, we want to sell our tea at the price of gold, because tea is called for our farmers, it is called for this country because of the foreign earning. So that is the channel. So we'll be requesting for a tea trade mission to establish a market and support the tea sector, and that is the decision this team was requesting. Your Excellency, as I conclude, I remember the big team from the members of parliament led by Dr. John Mutunga, who has assisted us. I remember John Mutunga, you forgot to mention your name, the MP for Tekania West, who has been a very instrumental in articulating matters to do with agriculture and tea, and also the big team of the Senate. I really want to appreciate the effort they have put to ensure that they support us. So, Your Excellency, with those few remarks, allow me now to welcome our next speaker, the Cabinet Secretary in charge of the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, Dr. Andrew Karanja, who will make his remarks, and therefore welcome you. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Professor DP Kindiki, Principal Secretary, Chairman and Honorable Members of Parliament and National Assembly, and the Vice Chairman of the Honorable Senators, tea industry stakeholders, event organizers, ladies and gentlemen, hamjambo. I would like to take this opportunity, first of all, to welcome His Excellency, the Deputy President, and congratulate you, assuming the office of the Deputy President. I note this is the first function you have presided over in the sector of agriculture. So welcome very much. In agriculture, it's a large sector. We welcome you. You'll be seeking your guidance. You'll be seeking your, as we move forward, to make sure that we work together, and we assure you that we will have our full support. We are delighted, as any other fellow Kenyans, to celebrate 100 years of tea. And I would like to inform our Excellency, the Deputy President, tea is the biggest subsector in agriculture, both in terms of GDP, whatever in terms of what it contributes. Currently, we are seeing tea crossing the 200 billion in terms of foreign exchange earnings. So that is big. In the last 100 years, tea has moved from where it started. Currently, we are almost talking about 600 million kilograms of tea. So it has grown tremendously in the last 100 years. And when you go through the countryside, you see a lot of activities regarding tea. And for those who have read the history of Kenya, the fight for independence was not only about an emancipation, about our freedom. It was also for Africans to grow tea and coffee. So it is part of our history. It is part of our history about when we try to liberate ourselves. So, without much, because we are pressed with time, I would like to say that the government, through the bottom-up transformation agenda, BETTER, has prioritized tea as one of the priority value chains. And why? Because if you look at the last 100 years, we have grown in terms of production, in terms of volumes, in terms of making sure that we have the tea. But looking forward, we are seeing some of the challenges which we need to handle. One of the challenges is to make sure that we add value to our tea. When I was appointed the minister, the cabinet secretary for agriculture, one of the first assignment I was given by His Excellency the President was to come to Mombasa. By that time, we had almost 100 million kilograms of tea in warehouses in Mombasa. And the feeling was that farmers might lose out because that tea, if it is not sold, then the payment to farmers will be in jeopardy. And we did what we did, and the movement, that volume has come down. So the other challenge we are looking at when the next 100 years, is to make sure that we have enough space in the market, in the global market. And that's why the PS has indicated that going forward, we will be kindly requesting you, Your Excellency, to lead some of the missions to go out to the countries where we can even sell more tea. Because the volumes are growing, we need to market that tea. The other challenge, and which is a good challenge also, is that we also need to improve on our quality. We know Kenyan tea is good quality, but there are certain areas where we need to improve on quality. And the Tea Board of Kenya has a program which they have already started to improve and to help the smallholder farmers and other farmers to improve on quality. So with those few remarks, I would request all of us to be upstanding as we welcome His Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, who is our chief guest. Thank you, and welcome, Your Excellency.
Naomba tuketi, asanteni sana. Kwanza kabisa natambua wote ambao mmefika hapa na ile nafasi mnashikilia. Kwa kikao hiki, na ya tatu ni kusema nimeleta salamu za Mheshimiwa Rais, kiongozi wetu President William Ruto amewasalamia. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to join you at this centenary celebration marking 100 years of service the Kenyan tea, of serving the Kenyan tea to the rest of the world. I am particularly delighted to welcome our visitors who are present here today from every part of Kenya, and particularly those who have come out of Kenya. I warmly welcome you, those who have come from outside Kenya, to our beautiful country, and more so our coastal city of Mombasa. And on that note, I was also with my brother, the governor of Mombasa. I think he is engaged in another function with this town. He has sent his greetings and apologies as well. It is my hope that while you are here, those of you who have come from outside Kenya, you will get to enjoy the ambience, comfort, and tranquility of Mombasa, the world's premier holiday destination and the true home of Hakuna Matata. Ladies and gentlemen, I take note of the fact that these celebrations were preceded by the Tea Heritage Week held in Karatina University. I am informed that that university event gave the sector players an opportunity to share information on various innovations in tea production and showcase the Kenyan tea as our national heritage. I congratulate the organizers for the inventiveness of the program that has integrated the cultural and social experience with a formal structured segment. I will not belabor you with Kenya's tea history. It has already been highlighted from 1903 to 1924, and therefore I will skip that bit of my speech and continue to say that we have come a long way in the tea journey, and even as the minister said, our Minister for Agriculture, it took the fight of those who fought for your independence, for our independence, to get us grow tea, as well as other crops, cash crops like coffee. And therefore, tea is not only our very unique exports, it's not only our gold and the treasure of our country, but tea is also part of our national heritage and is embedded in the struggle for the freedom and liberation of our country. 84 years today after tea was commercialized, we have made exemplary strides as a country. Today, tea growing cuts across 21 counties, supporting over 800,000 farmers and more than 6.5 million people, directly or indirectly, are economically supported by tea. Tea, as has been said, contributes to about 2% of our GDP. It is only third after diaspora remittances and as well as tourism. Today, our tea has grown in terms of quality and safety, and one of the reasons why our tea continues to maintain its quality and safety, it is because it is grown in natural conditions with very little chemical input. Kenyan tea, just like our athletes, is a globally recognized and outstanding brand. I appreciate what the Tea Board of Kenya is doing and the other stakeholders to market our tea abroad, and I want to commit to support that marketing campaign, and will be more than happy to join you when I can, when you go to market our tea in the places where our tea is exported. I think I have a bit more now of leverage to travel, because I have not been able to travel because of the previous national duty I was doing, which compelled me to stay within the territory of the Kenya 24 hours, 7 days a week, including on Christmas Day. I'm the only person who, for the last 2-3 years, have not been able to even go on Christmas. When you are on Christmas vacation, I am on duty, and I can see people who are familiar with that story, like Mheshimiwa Ruwaida here from Lamu. Those were some of the places I used to spend my Christmas with our frontline officers in the security sector. Therefore, as I have said, this is a very, very strong brand, our Kenyan tea, just like our athletes, and we need to leverage on that prominence of that brand to sell our tea abroad. And in many parts of the world, including the developed world, Kenyan tea is a major staple for breakfast and also for 4 o'clock refreshment in many homes. I want to congratulate all stakeholders and actors here today for the contribution you've made to make our tea what it is today. And I want to appreciate the role of the ministry, Minister, PS, Tea Board, KTDA, farmers, members of parliament who have done a good job in terms of anchoring this sector in a sound legal and regulatory framework. I salute all of you. And when I say members of parliament, both houses of parliament, National Assembly and Senate. Ladies and gentlemen, the socio-economic importance of the tea subsector cannot be gainsaid. The tea industry is not only an engine of economic growth, but is a key anchor to our sustainability and environmental conservation pursuits. Many of us here can attest to the role tea growing has played in supporting our education. Many families have educated their children in the last few decades, especially from the tea growing areas, or a place like Mombasa where the last mile of the tea marketing is done as the tea leaves our country, through the employment created in the entire supply chain, production and supply chain. Many families have educated their children from this sector. The sector has traditionally represented a major source of income and employment, especially for rural communities of our country. Smallholder farmers, many of whom are women, account for over 60% of global tea production. Women play a crucial role in the tea industry, substantially contributing to its sustainability, productivity, and community development, especially because tea is labor intensive and it provides many decent jobs, and these jobs are mostly preferred by women. Tea cultivation also promotes sustainable farming practices and environmental conservation, helping to mitigate climate change, because one of the threats now our tea farming, tea growing is facing is the threat of climate change that is disrupting weather patterns and also introducing harsh and radically different weather conditions that would affect the quality of our tea. For this reason, the government has recognized the tea subsector as a key anchor to the economy, with the bottom-up economic transformation agenda placing tea among our priority value chains, which will develop alongside other value chains like coffee, like cotton and coconut and so forth, and leather and everything else that this country can generate in the area of agriculture and livestock production. To safeguard the heritage and reputation of Kenyan tea and to ensure sustainability of the tea subsector, the government has continued to address the challenges facing the tea value chain. Chief among these is the high cost of production and processing, market access, lack of value addition, and dependence on markets that consume the CTC tea, that is the crush, tear, and curl tea. There are also challenges around quality concerns and perennial governance challenges in smallholder tea factories. The agriculture pillar in the Kenya Kwanza plan is anchored on subsidizing production rather than subsidizing consumption. This broad target is to ensure we improve agricultural productivity, to guarantee food security in the country, create jobs, and increase Kenya's exports. Of significant import has been efforts to reduce the cost of production and bring higher earnings to tea farmers. In this regard, the government has, over the last 2 years, supported tea farmers to access over 180,000 metric tons of subsidized fertilizer at a subsidized price of 2,500 shillings per 50 kilogram bag. This year, the government has allocated and disbursed 2 billion shillings to support the distribution of 97,000 metric tons of subsidized fertilizer to tea farmers. Similarly, there has been remarkable progress in resolution of the governance challenges at KTDA by holding elections, which were held recently. These elections ushered in fresh new leadership. Several legal and institutional reforms have also been put in place to enhance the performance of the subsector. Currently, Amendments to the Tea Act 2020 is ongoing, while some of the tea regulations required to operationalize the act are being developed. However, ladies and gentlemen, there is much more that needs to be done. One, there are concerns about tea quality that remain a challenge to this sector as we look into the future. As the Cabinet Secretary has said, we have had cases of significant quantities of sold volumes of tea which could not be sold, the reason being issues around the quality of those volumes. Whereas the removal of minimum prices has now been effected to allow trading flexibility and the clearance of stocks, significant efforts must be made to secure quality standards. Indeed, if buyers continue rejecting our tea over quality issues, we must anticipate that tea farmers will receive lower earnings and consequently impact upon the quantity produced. The corporate governance reforms, another issue which is of concern to this sector going forward. These reforms that have been identified in the various task force recommendations over the years, as well as the expected audit findings announced by the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, must also be prioritized. The challenge of conflict of interest in the management and operations of the various smallholder factories and KTDA should remain a core focus of the new leadership in the sector. The challenges facing tea production and tea are very many and so inextricably intertwined that effective and workable solutions should be holistic. The government will continue working with the stakeholders on market expansion for tea to new and emerging markets, while at the same time developing the traditional markets. Other support that will be provided under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda framework include supporting smallholder factories to diversify into orthodox tea with a view to reduce the pressure on CTC tea prices occasioned by oversupply. As you are aware, Kenyan farmers have traditionally relied on the conventional methods of tea production: plucking, withering, rolling, oxidation, and drying, which, while profitable, offers less income potential than value-added teas. Value addition has the potential to increase smallholder farmers' incomes when compared with non-value-added conventional tea. We should strive to encourage packaging, branding, blending, and other value addition elements. We must also adopt technology and innovation to product development, product diversification, continued research and development in the tea industry present an opportunity for the industry to develop products aligned to the new and emerging sophisticated consumer demands, including shifting preferences by the youthful generation. Climate change, another challenge, is impacting the tea subsector as with all other sectors of the economy. Changes in temperatures and rainfall patterns with more floods and droughts are steadily affecting yields, tea product quality and prices, lowering incomes and threatening rural livelihoods. These climate changes are expected to intensify, calling for urgent adaptation measures. We must design and implement climate practices that mitigate the negative impact of climate change in the sector, both on the adaptation and mitigation front, into our national tea development strategies. I am glad to note that despite the challenges that have been facing the subsector, In recent years, the performance of the industry has remained afloat and weathered the challenges of the global economic shocks affecting key markets for our tea. Last year, export earnings from tea reached a record 180 billion shillings, up from 138 billion shillings the previous year. Going by the export earnings so far until the end of October this year, which is at 156 billion, compared to 141 billion for the same period of last year, it is expected that export earnings by the end of this year will rise by at least 16% to reach 211 billion. I reiterate the government's commitment to continuously address the current and emerging issues in the tea industry, looking into the future with a view to safeguarding this national heritage of Kenya, our tea, to ensure sustainability of the subsector. We need to leverage on the legacy of the last 100 years, taking into account the emerging issues. I congratulate the organizers once again for creating the opportunity for our coming together as friends, partners, colleagues, and regulators to celebrate our successes and redesign our future, bonding over a cup of tea. In an increasingly complex and ever-innovating world, we must endeavor to preserve the special place of the Kenyan tea in Kenya's history and heritage. Good people, allow me to thank you for listening, and allow me to say that the best for the Kenyan tea is ahead of us. The best of Kenyan tea is ahead of us. Tea is giving us foreign exchange, the third earner of our foreign exchange after diaspora remittances and tourism. Tea is giving us jobs, especially in rural communities, and especially for our women who find a lot of decent jobs in this industry. And therefore, going forward, the government will continue to invest in this subsector. This administration, under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, believes that the only way to revive our agriculture and take it to the next century, modernize agriculture, including tea production, is by investing and putting resources in the production process as opposed to subsidizing the consumption of our products. And it is in that regard the government will continue enhancing the amounts that we allocate to the inputs that go into the production of tea, particularly fertilizer, as I have already stated, and also modernizing the technologies that we use to produce our tea to make sure that we have better quality tea production. And also, the government will continue to invest in value addition to make sure that we we increase the earnings that we get from our tea. The challenges that this sector continues to face around governance, we have begun working on those challenges, and I want to thank all the stakeholders for making this possible. The two houses of parliament, county assemblies in some respect, county governments, the national government, Ministry of Agriculture, Tea Board, KTDA, and all the actors, agents and brokers, and all the actors in the value chain. We are grateful for agreeing to cooperate for the purpose of modernizing and enhancing the value of our tea sector by improving the governance situation in the sector. And there is no turning back. Let me clarify, there is no turning back in tea, coffee, and other reforms. There is no turning back. There is no turning back. And I repeat, there is no turning back. The government will not relent. And because my last national assignment, I was the security minister of the country, I want to assure you, I will bring that firmness in this new assignment. The firmness of keeping the country first and placing the interest of our nation beyond any other interest. I therefore want to plead with us to cooperate, because the reform in the tea sector must, by all means possible. There are no two ways about it. There will be no roadblock. There will be no obstacle. There will be no hurdle. We will succeed for the sake of our country and for the sake of the farmers who sweat out to make sure that they give us this proud product that we sell and boast of all over the world. Mimi najua hapo kutakuwa na matatizo, lakini tutaendelea. We will reform our tea sector, because if it is giving us this value with all the challenges, you can imagine what it will do if we removed the challenges we have. Issues of governance are non-negotiable. They are non-negotiable. And I know what normally happens, because again of the experience I've had in other responsibilities before. Some of the entrenched practices that place a barrier on our success. Whenever there is a new holder of office, they say, we have seen many people. We have seen many ministers. We have seen many deputy presidents. We have seen many presidents. My friends, this administration is different. I assure you, President Ruto and all of us, we will succeed in reforming the tea sector. Luckily, when the reforms succeed, everybody will be happy, including those who are opposing the reforms. They will be happy. But before we get there, we must do the heavy lifting. And I want to congratulate my brother CS, my brother PS, the T-Board people, KTDA. So far, you have done a lot of work, and I'm sure I will pick where my predecessor left to coordinate those reforms and make sure that we succeed. The quality issue, we must address it. Some of the quality issues are beyond our control, because some of the factors that are impact on our quality is, for example, climate change. But we can mitigate and adapt our production processes to make sure that we minimize the effects of climate change in the quality of our tea. Diversification, of course, venturing into new products within this tea subsector, value addition, as I have said. Kwa hayo mengi na machache na washukuru. I wish I could stay longer, but maybe next time. I have promised to, I've given my commitment to Minister Karanja and PS Rono and all the other stakeholders, including our colleagues from Parliament, the two houses of Parliament. Very soon, in the next 2 weeks, I want to invite you for a fairly informal brainstorming roundtable so that you can bring me to speed from different sectors, angles, and players where we are on this process, so that as we continue working together, we are all reading from the same script. I promise we should do that, Minister, in the next 2 weeks, so that we are all aligned. Nashukuru sana, nawatakia kila la heri. Mungu awabariki. Mungu awabariki nchi yetu ya Kenya. Asante. Nimesahau, I'm still learning the job. It is now my pleasure to declare this conference and this celebration officially open. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I will request you to remain up there as we remove the podium and bring this banner so that you can receive a gift from the chairman, Tea Board of Kenya. Mr. Chair, kindly, escorted by the CEO, mweze kumpokeza His Excellency zawadi hiyo. And then as His Excellency is going to receive that, I'll request that kindly we sit as we are going to take a few photos. I will invite the CS and the PS to join His Excellency up there. And then the chair is already there, the CEO is already there. Then be on standby. The chair KTDA and the CEO KTDA be on standby. Kindly, we can sit, kindly. Thank you. As the chair and the CEO withdraw, the chair and CEO KTDA kindly join His Excellency and the PS on stage. Then we get the Tea Board of Kenya board members. Kindly, we step forward. The third photo, Tea Board members. Thank you. The CS, His Excellency and the CS will remain. And then I invite the Tea Board of Kenya board members. Then the last one will be the Tea Board of Kenya KTDA board members. Be on standby. And then the last one, KTDA members, then the last one will be waheshimiwa, because mkumbuke wao ndo wanatutengenezea sheria ya chai. Tafadhali tukiwasahau watatusahau, lakini si matumaini kwamba watatusahau. Kindly waheshimiwa, we will take both houses, kindly, both houses. Let's balance. Tufanye tu kwa muda, tuokole muda tafadhali. Thank you very much. Now we will withdraw the last picture.